Hello, how are you? I've been fiddling with volume levels on my mic because I've noticed that my mic level, my speaking level, is extremely low on my streams, and it's been bothering me. Um, so I hope that what I did fixes it, and I hope I'm not splitting everybody's ears open, but I know my volume was low, my audio was low. Okay, so today we are going to go back to some good old drama content because, I've been feeding you guys broccoli and liver and healthy things, and now it's time to just sit back, put our feet up, and eat some Twinkies. Okay, so as you know, Jan's Views has a problem with me. Now, I don't care if Jan's Views has a problem with me. I don't care if she has a problem with half of the internet. The problem with Jan, as anybody will tell you, is that Jan cannot admit when she was wrong. She cannot listen to a reasonable critique and think about it, mull it over, and then come back and say, you know what, maybe I misspoke, maybe I didn't put it correctly, maybe I should have worded it differently. No, what she does is she comes back and doubles, triples, and quadruples down and then doesn't understand why people get so angry. Hello, everybody. It's good to see everybody. And I want to thank everybody for the subs because the channel is growing by leaps and bounds, and I'm really, really pleased about that. And I appreciate that. And I also want to thank all the people who have been sending cash apps. You've all been very, very generous. And so if anybody is so inclined, please take advantage of all those options below, at least until we qualify for monetization. So I appreciate it. Hello, Rosie Rose. Good to see you. It's good to see everybody on a Saturday evening. Right. So, Jan posted the following community tab where she tagged me. It's very funny because I don't tag her. But she felt compelled to write the following. Let me bring it up. All right. So what that says is, please check out this video, garlic bread. She's now referring to garlic bread as kind of like the expert, the morality police of the community. He explains the need to call out unacceptable behavior of certain individuals, creators in the sphere known as Girl World. Okay, Jan, while we're calling people out, how about you admit that you are weird, you stalk people, you smear them, you lie about them, you diagnose them without knowing anything about them. You critique people's parenting when you've never met the person, you've never met the kids, you don't know shit. You claim that you're an expert on autism, which then gives you the right to go out and critique people who are raising children with autism. You have criticized my parenting and basically said outright, or at least insinuated, that I am not a real parent. Because, again, you are one of these women who falls into the category of if the child doesn't come out of your own body, then it's not your child, which is extremely insulting, not only to the people that raised you, but also insulting to every foster parent, every step parent, every adoptive parent on the earth, which is disgusting. But you're typical of women that I run into online all the time. It's typical. And generally, the women that critique me are women who have a lot of, they're projecting their own insecurities about their own parenting. So what can I tell you? All right, let me continue with this. Misconstrued words and implications can run amok in Girl World, and it's time that decent people speak out about the malicious nature of content creators such as, and then she has this whole range of people, including me, amongst others. Racism, bigotry, sexism, anti-Semitism, ageism, Islamophobia, and homophobia is excused daily by thousands of like-minded followers. Jan, I have never heard you say a word about anti-Semitism, not ever. Not ever. As a matter of fact, just the other day, you brought up my Judaism as a gotcha. You brought up Andrew Gold's Judaism as a gotcha. And you made some weird insinuation that I was promoting Andrew Gold because we were two Jews, who were, in some sort of a cabal trying to undermine the rights or the dignity of other people. It's ridiculous. All right. So, misinformation runs rampant as the perceived weak are systematically insulted and abused by creators whose main purpose is to silence them. All right. No, nobody is systematically insulting and abusing you to silence you, Jan. God knows that the biggest problem with you is that you can't keep your mouth shut. You remind me of all these right-wing commentators who complain that their speech is being abridged or stifled in some way. And they do it on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Facebook, on Rumble, on YouTube to thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. They go on Fox News. They go on all kinds of news shows to complain about how their free speech is being stifled. But okay, sure. System by creators whose main purpose is to silence them. It's way past the concept of throwing a little shade. It has become increasingly toxic, malicious, and divisive. Right, just like the content that you produce about me and about Negs. You are a very malicious person, Jan. Very malicious, very, very bitter. You are someone who has never recovered from being kicked out of my community, which I did because I couldn't fucking take you anymore. I could not stand having you in my community. You would not keep your mouth shut. You were opinionated, which is fine, but you had your own fucking channel. You could have gone on your channel to speak your opinions, but instead you would come into my chat and derail it and offend me. And so, yeah, I got rid of you. You were exhausting. It has become increasingly toxic, malicious. Okay, well. I personally know of creators that have removed themselves from this platform in order to protect their mental health against the constant harassment, abuse, and bullying. This needs to stop. Jan, who has harassed and bullied you? I have a question for you. Has anybody ever come to your home? Has anyone ever come to London and prowled around your neighborhood with a weapon? Has anyone ever dragged you to court, not once, not twice, but several times, under false pretenses? Has anyone ever threatened you? Has anyone ever tried to sabotage your business? Has anyone ever tried to take down an online store that you were running? See, we had all that happen to us just last year. And it was all because of people on the internet. And you know exactly who they are. And those are people you don't call out, by the way. I can't help but notice that. But sure. Everybody's bullying you. Everybody's ganging up against you. Everybody's making your life a living hell. You don't have to watch, Jan. You don't have to watch. The failure of your channel is not our fault. It's not the fault of any of the people you listed in that community post. It's because your content is terrible and because you are insufferable. And Bridget is unbearable. You have on your panel, week after week, a woman who is a stalker. One of the people who dragged Negs to court unnecessarily, overslept, and didn't show up. A woman who has continued to pry into my professional life. She pried into my education. She pried into every aspect of our lives. She pried into the deed to the house. She couldn't keep her fucking mouth shut, and she couldn't keep everything to herself. Your friend, Bridget, is a complete and utter weirdo. Maybe she should spend more time finishing up her PhD instead of stalking strangers on the internet and then calling it trolling. If I ever emailed or contacted the deans at her school, do you know what her reaction would be? She would hit the fucking roof. But she considers what she does okay. It's not going IRL. It's not, invading people's privacy. Or she has been on a mission ever since she and I butted heads to prove that I am a fabricator. And you were part of it, Jan. You were part of it. So far, you've all failed, but okay. It's good to see you guys. Thank you. Everybody joining chat, thank you. And if you are new here, please do not forget to subscribe. We would love to have you. All right, so this is the video that
What's going on, guys? Welcome back.
Shut up. This is the video she recommended. It's by Garlic Bread, who is insufferable. And just to show you that I am not a content thief or I am not an ideas thief. And I give credit where credit is due. I will pull up something. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. So if you want the top-notch information on garlic bread, go to Kiwi Farms and follow Ask My Dominatrix. Ask My Dominatrix has done excellent deep dives on garlic bread. Her, and I'm assuming it's a her. It's not Gigi, by the way. Okay, so everybody just back off. Ask My Dominatrix has compiled some really good videos and some really good information on this Ryan Moody character. I want everyone to remember that garlic bread lied to his audience and said that he was terminally ill. This was back in 2021. And apparently, I think that it's in this video that he claims that the organ that was affected at the time is a totally different organ than before. I think it was the liver before, and now it's the kidney, or the other way around. I can't follow. This is the guy who led that idiot Breezy on while he was playing footsie with Jessica Messica, the one who lied about this Christina the Latina person. This man is so untrustworthy, a complete washout in the Madden community. And then he came over to Girl World. You know why? Because there were women here. There were women who were being very generous and opening up their pocketbooks to donate to creators. And he thought, okay, great. This is a target-rich environment. This is where I belong. I don't want to belong with a bunch of sweaty, neckbeard incels in the Madden community. I'm going to go over to where people are making money, and I can target a bunch of naive, gullible women. So anyway, this video, I've watched part of it, and it's hilarious. But Jan thinks that we can all learn from it, so let's see if she's right. Let's go.
Commentary free, and I know, you don't like the creator-to-creator drama, but this is so much less creator-to-creator, and me, honestly, just standing up for myself, because so much of this stuff is completely unacceptable, and in other communities, dare I say, would not be accepted, would not be tolerated. Now, this is a community post I made, which referenced my recent loss of monetization.
Hi, Chatty
and that
Charlie.
was short-term, but I do that out of respect for you,
Oh.
the member, the viewer, the subscriber.
Yeah.
Because if you're a member of someone's channel, or you've super chatted someone and they lose monetization, it's a very sterile process. You basically get an email that says your membership's been paused or canceled, your super chat's been refunded, and that's it. And it honestly comes down to the creator and whether or not they want to have responsibility for that. I personally appreciate the income I'm able to make on this platform.
I'll
and when
bet
something
you are.
like that happens, I believe that I owe it to you to explain what happened. And the only way I can communicate is through community post or content.
Okay.
So I do come on and say, listen, this is what happened. Don't be concerned. Everything's okay. Nothing I did. We're going to work past this. I'm still going to make content. I feel like that's something I owe you. Now, moreover, I don't know how anyone in this community could see that happen to one of their peers and be elated or be happy, because we're in the same community. Theoretically, what impacts one person could impact every person.
Why? What do we have to do with your content? What do we have to do with your channel? Nobody owes you anything, Ryan Moody. No one owes you a goddamn thing. You produce shitty, lazy content on a daily basis, which somehow you get paid to do, which is one of the mysteries of this platform. So why should somebody who's going out there and producing content about different things, who happens to be wrapped up in this community, this garbage heap of a community, commenting daily, sometimes several times a day, on the life of a woman that you sit in judgment of? And by the way, Ryan, I noticed that Foodie never deceived anyone into giving up their home, moving with their child to a completely different state, going into an Airbnb, and convincing them that, oh, we're going to buy a house, or you're going to buy a house for us. Lying to them, stringing them along. Foodie has never done that. You did that, though. Foodie never lied about having a terminal illness. You did that. You did that. And I'm telling you that without Foodie Beauty, if Foodie ever stopped streaming, or if something happened to her, God forbid, you would be SOL. What would you talk about? You would go back to the Madden community, where you belong? What would you talk about? You have no interests. You can maybe start a channel about that card collection of whatever it is that you have. But Foodie, I mean, you can say she's a liar. You can say she's this. You can say she's that. But Ryan, you have pulled so many grifts, so many stunts on YouTube. And the fact that these stupid, idiotic women in the community keep on taking you back and helping you make a living on the platform, I think is a disgrace. But I'm not in charge of monetization on YouTube. So nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. I mean, the nerve of you, the gall of you to think that people would rally to your defense. Fuck you.
Me personally, anytime someone has lost monetization within a group that I've been in or a community that I've worked with, I've always said, hey, what did that person do? And what can I do to lower the percentage that happens to me, right? Even go back, way back covering video games, the COPPA Act was coming in. People were concerned about making content with games. Every time there's a risk assessment when it comes to content.
A risk assessment.
So for that post that I highlighted, to have another community member kind of, you know, wink and nod like, hey, this person lost monetization, right? And then the very following day, use a majority of someone else's content. And it doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter how I feel about it.
Oh, see, he's triggered about this account because Busy Little Bee, I've never watched her channel. I've never watched her content. I don't know anything. I just found out, thanks to Kiwi Farms, thank you very much, that Busy Little Bee makes, I guess, most of her content about garlic bread. She's very critical of him, as anybody should be, because his content is garbage. So this guy sits around slinging insults and critiques and critiquing somebody on the way they practice their religion, because I think he thinks he's some sort of an imam. He's an expert on Islam. He critiques diets. He critiques this. He critiques that. But you critique him? Whoo! You want to talk about thin skin. Let's continue.
That person, it's still reusing content, okay? Now, if you want to respond to that, if you feel, hey, I didn't reuse this person's content, I didn't take content from somebody, all these things, then that is something inherently you should be able.
Okay, I stand corrected. Apparently, Busy Little Bee focuses on that idiot Breezy, but she does make content on garlic bread. And apparently, there was a kerfuffle of sorts because she used a video from years ago. It was about his so-called terminal illness. And Ask My Dominatrix was a bit put out because Ask My Dominatrix had posted it on the farms first. And I will say this, all right? I've had my differences with the farms, as you all know. For years, I had my differences with the farms. But if you are going to go on the farms and you are going to use content that was found by a farmer that you would never have found otherwise, and don't flatter yourselves. A lot of you are lazy and you don't go out and looking for stuff on your own. I don't know anything about Busy Little Bee, but I'm talking in general. People just don't have the research skills or the interest to go out and find things on their own, and so they go to the farms and they use material that they got off the farms, you know, archived live streams and stuff. I have gotten a lot of material off the farms. There are people who archive everything. And so if you're going to go and you're going to use material from the farms, for fuck's sake, why don't you just give them credit? It's not that difficult. All right, let's continue.
Able to address. You should be able to sit down, make a video and say, listen, this person said that I used, 6 minutes of content in this 10-minute video when I didn't. Here's why, here's how, this is a big misunderstanding. And if you want to do that, I'm all for it, right? That we can have a conversation with. But instead, and in this community, it's prevalent, we cite things like this. Strange man who stalks me. And I really want to hone in on this point.
Oh, no.
Because I feel like this is intentionally done to divide a community of women from a male creator.
Oh.
So to be clear, the concept is based off a single community post that I made, that I am a strange man who stalks her. Let's just look at her content over the past year, right? We've made over an hour's worth of content here regarding me.
Oh, no, not an hour.
So if we're using that playing field, right, do I not, as a male, have the right to say, hey, this strange woman is stalking me?
Okay, let's not play the man card, okay? Let's not play that game. You have made, according to you, Mama, I think he counted it, you have made over 200 videos on Chantal. 200. And you're sitting there and you're mad because somebody made an hour-long video about you, or a community post, or a few videos about you. Who in the fuck do you think you are, dude? Seriously. Who do you think you are? Everybody who comes on the platform is going to be criticized. Everyone. Now, there's certain precious little lambs who are never criticized. You know, God forbid that you ever step to them. My understanding is that, and I read this on the forums again, I didn't see it for myself because I don't watch that idiot Alex is Shook, but apparently he was insinuating that there was something odd about Nikocado Avocado's weight loss. And according to them, and I don't know if this is true, I'm just telling you what I read, Alex was suggesting that Nikocado filmed all these videos years ago, the skinny video that he just posted, that he filmed it years ago and he kept it in storage and then got really fat and then decided as a troll to release this skinny video. Anyone who believes that is out of their goddamn mind. If you look at Nikocado when he was skinny before, when he was a vegan, and you look at him now, you can clearly tell that it's not the same time period. Some people have been looking at his teeth and saying that he got his teeth fixed since the vegan period. He was much, much thinner during the vegan period. You can clearly tell now that he's aged. And he doesn't look the same. You know, when he was younger and he lost all the weight, he looked like a really skinny young guy. Now, I have to put my 2 cents in. I think he looks ill. And it looks to me, and this is just my opinion, obviously, I have no idea of how Nikocado lost all the weight. Yeah, you can literally, exactly. Right. I think that it looks like Nikocado did the Ozempic thing. I think he was on the jab because he's got that Ozempic face. He looks much skinnier. He obviously is much skinnier, but he doesn't look healthy. He's got that Ozempic face look to him. And the fact that he shaved his head and lost all the weight, it's a very disturbing image. I mean, good for him. Okay. What's a lot more believable is that he filmed a whole bunch of mukbangs, put them in the vault, released them slowly over a period of 7 months, and then came out and went, ta-da, look, I'm skinny. Hey, Crafty Gypsy, what I would like to know, I didn't either, Elsie. I had absolutely no idea because I don't watch him and I don't follow him, so I had no clue, right? And Ozempic can let you lose that much weight. Nobody loses 250 pounds in 7 months. Or however long he's been off the platform. Naturally, just by diet and exercise. It is not possible. So my suspicion is that he went on Ozempic or one of those other drugs that's meant for diabetes that's used off-label for weight loss. Could he have had gastric bypass? Sure. But I don't know. I'm leaning towards Ozempic. Does it really matter? He lost a lot of weight. He lost a lot of weight. Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. But to suggest that yeah. I mean, good for him. Good for him. I don't know what he expects is going to happen now. I mean, I'm glad that he lost weight. I hope Orlin did too, because Orlin was huge. They both were. And it was obvious that he could not continue along the path that he was on. But to suggest that somehow he planned all this ahead of time and did that, it's just absurd if that is in fact what Alex Shook said. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let's continue.
I personally would never say those things based on this content. But some reason it's acceptable the other way. And as I said, I really don't know what other communities there are that tolerate these type of claims, even moving forward when someone comes on and says something like this. Right? And I'm not even going to discuss people she associates with and what they've been shown doing because it's not relevant, but rather the fact that she responds further. Rather than saying, hey, don't label someone here, saying that I'm spreading malicious lies.
Okay.
Right? Malicious lies. The same lies that you failed to address with really anything other than childish name calling. And you know,
Okay, I want to know why Jan recommended that we watch this video. This all seems to be crying on the part of Ryan Moody about people being mean to him on the internet. What am I supposed to take away from this? What am I learning from this? I don't care about Ryan Moody's problems, which are all self-inflicted, by the way. Why would I give a damn that he lost monetization? Or that there's like one content creator or maybe a handful who are making videos responding to his nonsense? Why would I care about that? And why would he care? Ryan Moody has not experienced even 1/1 millionth of what other people have experienced, getting stalked, harassed, deplatformed, and everything else on YouTube. He doesn't even know what it means. And as a matter of fact, the fact that this man was welcomed back into any community is startling to me, given his history. But let's continue.
we should be clear. You can't disagree with someone and always have it boil down to this. It always can't be turned into, this person is a perv, this person is strange, this person is stalking.
You are strange.
Is this what we do to men who make content?
Oh.
If you disagree with them or their work, we just label them all these things?
Okay, here is... You want me to tell you a secret, Ryan Moody? The same thing has been said about me. I have been called a pedophile. I have been called a pedo enabler. I have been accused of stalking people because, people like Peanut think that if you go and you watch her public live streams that you're stalking her or you're obsessed with her. I have been accused of crimes, of actual felonies. I have had my life threatened. I have had a content creator threaten to beat my ass in the streets of Indiana. I have been dragged into court multiple times. What has happened to you exactly? 1 or 2 people made videos, yo mama cracks on you and you can't take it? What is wrong with you? You say you're a man, why don't you act like one, dude?
Because I can pretty confidently demonstrate that I'm not stalking you. I'm pretty confident that you can't formulate a true case that I am. But by your definition of stalking, this single community post, I mean, that's just going to be a really tough call for you.
Oh, so now...
And should we not have...
Oh, so now a community post is stalking? God, you are every bit as soft as all the other women in the community. You're as bad as Clara. She's another one. I'm so glad that Yo Mama is covering her, because Clara is one of the biggest cows in the community, and of course, she has joined forces with Jan and Bridget and those losers. Hang on a second. I'm going to go get my coffee. Why do I always forget something when I'm streaming? I'll be right back. I don't know, Huey. I don't know why he lost monetization. I think it's not the first time, by the way. But let's continue. I'm still waiting to learn something.
Have the right to view things that you do in the same light that you view things that we do. And I know people in this comment section are going to point out, oh, you're a larger channel, they're a smaller channel. That, to me, is absolutely irrelevant.
It doesn't matter.
One person's lie doesn't become better or worse based on the outreach they have. Right? If you're lying about someone, you're a liar.
Yep.
Whether you tell one person or 1 million people. So the fact that other people see that and can run with it, and then perhaps maybe a larger channel would pick it up, that's why this needs to be addressed as it happens.
Okay.
Now, I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out this whole leprechaun and Irish reference.
Oh, okay? God.
I personally don't understand why it's acceptable to shame people's heritage in this community. And I have a feeling if it came down to it, this person wouldn't make the same remarks about maybe a black content creator because they know the outrage would be there. But when it's someone of Irish descent, when it's someone from another descent, all of a sudden it's acceptable. It's not. It's not acceptable to make fun of someone's heritage.
Imagine a grown man. Imagine a grown man getting triggered because somebody called him a leprechaun. Imagine that. I am so embarrassed for you right now. You are such an embarrassment, Ryan Moody. You are such an embarrassment. Let's continue.
Last thing I want to point out here, and this has been addressed countless times, okay? Years ago, I created an issue for myself with my liver enzymes that were on a path to lead to liver failure. And this was caused due to toxicity in my liver after not taking post-cycle therapy.
What?
Okay, thankfully, I was able to have not only the ability to afford, but also take cell therapy, which was successful.
Okay.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't prepared for the very real assessment that that was going to be life-threatening. Okay, that doesn't mean that I didn't sit down with both my parents and start to divvy out where my investments were going to go, where my possessions were going to go.
Oh, your cards.
Did I address it on my other channel? Absolutely. If something like that happened today, would I address it on this channel? Absolutely. But thankfully, I moved on from that physically, mentally.
Oh, so is he dying or is he not dying? Which one is it? And what happened to his liver? How did the liver? How did he have talk? I mean, I'm not really interested. I'm just curious because this is a man who has changed his story so many times about so many things. And I don't follow him closely because, quite frankly, I am so sick of crybabies and liars on the platform that it makes my head spin trying to keep up with some of these cows. But apparently, he had, it was liver or it was kidney, and he changed it. I don't know. But apparently, he was quite the fabricator in the Madden community. That's my understanding. He's a joke. Dude is a joke.
Now, in fairness, could I use it as a talking point with Chantal? Yeah, perhaps.
Why?
Right, I could sit here and say, listen, I damaged my liver being irresponsible.
Doing what?
You know, I went to a doctor that told me before and after what I was doing was going to lead to permanent issues.
What? What were you doing?
I chose to listen to no one but myself and continue to do the things I wanted to do.
What, were you a drunk? What happened?
I was told, listen, you're making poor life choices and you're going to have a dramatically high probability of organ failure if you continue on this path. And I sat there knowing everything and saying, well, you're just saying that because that's what you feel. That's not going to happen to me. And when it did, I accepted it.
Uh-huh.
Did it make it any less traumatic? Did it make it any less hurtful? Did it make it any less difficult? No. In some ways, I would say it actually makes it more difficult because I had to come to the very real understanding that I was likely solely responsible for this.
Uh-huh.
And I needed to have the financial and mental needs to take care of this.
Uh-huh.
And some people don't have that. Right? Some people feel like they've destroyed part of their body and that's it. Some people feel like, hey, I can't afford to get this fixed, or I don't want to afford to get this fixed. Trust me.
Oh, I see. I see what he's saying. So you make multiple videos about Chantal, ripping her from stem to stern, multiple times a day sometimes, every day, and you've been doing it for how long now? And you're doing it to help her. I see. So you point out that she's Musliming wrong. Because, of course, you know what you're talking about, and you're trying to help her. You're trying to help her with her eating problems and her, various and sundry health problems. I see. Ryan Moody, let me explain something to you. People like you and Jan's Views need to mind your own fucking business, okay? I think that Chantal is fully aware of the fact that she's very unhealthy. What she chooses to do about it has nothing to do with you. And there is not a goddamn thing that you or anybody else on the platform can say that will penetrate and make her change her ways. The only person who can change her and her way of thinking is her. But if you mean to tell me that this nonstop bullying and haranguing of that woman that you are monetizing is in any way meant to be charitable or trying to help her, because you're trying to convey your life experience, it is so unbelievably dishonest. All you are doing on the platform is making money. You don't give a shit about anybody else. And then you have the nerve to come on the platform whinging because you think that everybody should come to your defense and start tagging Team YouTube to get your monetization back. You must be joking. Are you kidding?
I'd have much rather spent all of that money elsewhere if I had the choice. If I didn't have to put it into trying to make my body right.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, is that what we're bringing up? Is that some type of, again, some type of leverage point? You know, this whole community, in a sense, needs to be better.
Could we please have money bags in the chat for the very, very generous Cash App donor? I really, really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And let that lovely, generous donor be an inspiration. Scrolling down there, please take advantage of it. Show your love for the channel and for the channel content creators, myself, and Negs. Thank you so much. And I do appreciate all of your support. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Let's continue.
So many times someone disagrees with someone, it's never about the point. It's never about the principle. It's always about the character.
Uh-huh.
It's always about parenting. It's always about someone's sexual preference. It's always about someone's ethnicity. Like, enough is enough. If you don't want to have a discussion with someone, or you don't feel that you can have a discussion without making these, I don't even want to say childish insults, because listen,
did Jan listen to the part where he talked about slinging insults about people's parenting? Jan, that is what you do all the time. You critique Yo Mama and his parenting based on a video that he posted of him and his children at an amusement park. You have critiqued my parenting. You have critiqued Negs' parenting. You have gone on your channel and lied and claimed to be some expert in autism. And that you know how to raise an autistic child, that you're aware. You are an infuriating know-it-all, Jan. And why don't you finally tell everyone the truth about your so-called mental illness? I mean, it's clear that you're out of your mind. I think that we can all see that. There's something very wrong with you. But why don't you come clean and admit that you only say that you have BPD because you took an online quiz, and that you have never been diagnosed with BPD by a professional, not ever. And if you say that you're taking BPD meds, that's how we know you're lying, because there is no medication for BPD. It's a personality disorder. Bipolar is different than BPD. With bipolar, you can get medicated to even out your moods. You can get antidepressants, you can get that. You can get that with BPD too, but there is no medication for BPD. The only way that you can mitigate the symptoms of BPD is through therapy. DBT or CBT, that's how you mitigate it. But there is no medication that mitigates the symptoms of BPD. You are a liar. An insufferable, know-it-all liar. And if I were you, I would stop critiquing other people's parenting. I would stop that immediately, because God knows, you know as well as I do, that you are in no position to judge anyone's parenting. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's continue.
As a child, you can insult someone's heritage and be completely ignorant to it, right? And not really even know what you're saying. But as a grown adult, when that's what you resort to, you know full well what you're doing. When you encourage someone to be labeled a pervert, when you encourage someone to be labeled a stalker, when you encourage labeling someone's ethnicity.
Okay. You know, Gorlick, that when you were basically defending Yaba and Sam the other day, you know that they do all that, right? You're aware of that. That's what they do. And they don't just engage in accusing people of stalking. Sam does stalk people. I am not the first person. And Negs is not the first person. She has stalked other people, including her wife. They have both been on a rampage recently, accusing everyone of child molestation, accusing everyone of being a pedophile or a pred or a pervert or whatever. They've done it in writing and they've done it on stream. So why don't you direct your ire in that direction? Oh no, of course you're not going to. Because you don't want to lose their audience. Because you're a spineless, pathetic coward. Let's continue. Oh, and neither will Jan, by the way. Let's continue.
As an adult, you know the consequences of those things and what you're saying. As a child, you might not know. But again, if this is how we're making content, then honestly, as a community, as the viewer, there needs to be some type of accountability to say, listen, we're not tolerating this.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even go as so far to say that if someone sat there every single day and truly fabricated things about Shantal, truly labeled Shantal things that were not true, that not only would there be a groundswell of creators that would disagree with it, even ones you might not think would disagree with it. But moreover, what it does, it waters down the people in our community that have truly been predatory.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Ryan Moody. Physician, heal thyself. I'm waiting for you to make a video about Sam and Yaba and their behavior on the platform. Doxing their customers. The dildo's mother got a phone call from someone. Could have been from them, could have been from the bodega, since they're all joined at the hip now, the support bodega. Accusing people of being predators and pedophiles. Falsely accusing people of calling CPS on them, when there's only one documented CPS caller in the community, and that is Sam. Trying to destroy people's businesses, smearing and lying about people and their children, targeting people's children, making false CPS calls, using customer lists from Shopify and a postcard list to dox customers and bragging about it, openly bragging about trying to destroy people's real-life businesses, falsely reporting people's eBay accounts, and perhaps even a PayPal account, because Negs had problems with his PayPal account last year too, right around the time that he was having problems with eBay. They've done all that and more, and we are not the only ones they've done that to. But you don't say a peep about it, do you, Ryan Moody? Why? Again, because you're greedy and you're a coward. And you think that by ignoring the giant scandal that is circulating around Sam and Yaba and their community, that you are going to be in good stead. No, people are taking notes. There is a side of right and there is a side of wrong. And what you are doing is you are defending doxers, harassers, stalkers, malicious, evil people, because you don't want to lose money and you don't want people brigading your channel. Just say that. Just say that. I don't want to get involved in this because I don't want my channel taken down. Or say nothing at all. But don't come out here lecturing people about how to behave on the platform, because you're leaving a lot of stuff out. And if this woman's little channel is your biggest problem, then trust me, you are a very lucky man indeed.
You know, the Karate Joes of the community, they get diluted when you start throwing these labels out just because you disagree with someone and don't like them. And you feel like the only thing you can do to try to counter their argument is by creating these labels. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching it. You know. Be back.
Okay, my thought about this is that I just wasted my time. What a surprise. What an absolute surprise that Ryan Moody wasted my time and that Jan wasted my time by directing me at this guy, when Jan has been guilty of a lot of the things that he has just critiqued others for. You butt your nose into people's personal lives. You butt your nose into other people's business. You critique parenting that you know nothing about, nothing. You claim to be an expert. And I am going to say this again, Jan. And first of all, I do want to thank the person who just Cash Apped again. Please, money bags in the chat for the Cash App person. Very generous. Again, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for supporting the channel, helping us grow. Again, don't forget to subscribe and drop a like. Thank you so much. Okay. So, Jan, I have been listening to your appearances on different panels. I have heard you explain yourself. I have seen you double, triple, and quadruple down, as is your habit. I saw that you uploaded an idiotic short about me that I don't know what your point was, apart from the fact that you're angry that I'm not on your side and that I don't like you and you can't sit with me. That seems to be your complaint. What is it going to take for you to understand that your justification, that you coming up with excuses like, well, that 40-year-old man, you know, I hear he was an alcoholic. Who cares? What if he had been a teetotaler? What if he had been as clean as a whistle? What difference would that have made? Why is it so difficult for you to say the obvious? I'll tell you why. Because you hate Shantal so much. You have dehumanized her to the point that everything is her fault. A 40-year-old man exploiting a 16-year-old girl was the fault of the kid. And when I tell you, yet again, whether you get upset or not is not my concern, because it's true what I'm about to say. If you go back and you look at the records of the girls who were trafficked and raped by those Pakistani rape gangs, and you see what the police and the local council and the social workers and others said at the time, it was that the girls were asking for it. Some of those girls who were as young as 11 years old were labeled as prostitutes. One of the main victims was accused of being a madam, and she was prosecuted, along with her abusers. This is why that scandal was allowed to continue so much. And I know that Jan likes to bring up Jimmy Savile. All right, Jimmy Savile was protected by the BBC for years because Jimmy Savile was a very popular host, a TV host. The BBC was making a lot of money off of him. And they thought that if they kept it all shtum, that they would be able to continue making money, but they didn't expect what happened to happen, which is all of it coming out. The Pakistani rape gangs were protected because the police, the social workers, and the politicians and the media were too afraid to say what needed to be said. They were afraid of being called racist. They were afraid of the Muslim communities rising up and getting all out of control. They were afraid of all those loudmouth community leaders and imams going on TV and running their mouths and talking about, exploitation and racism and this and that and the other thing. Nobody wanted a PR disaster on their hands. And nobody wanted the Muslim community, which, let's face facts, is an extremely volatile community in the United Kingdom. Nobody wanted those people getting so riled up that they started stabbing in the street, that they, committed terrorist acts or whatever. And that's the main reason that the Pakistani rape gangs were allowed to continue as long as they did, because of cowardice on the part of the officials. The same officials who labeled 11-year-old girls as prostitutes. And why? Because they were poor, they were in foster care, they were the children that you claim you were counseling. God fucking forbid. They were told that they were lesser than. Even the Sikh girls, and the Sikh community is very, very tight. The Sikh community was up in arms about what was happening to the girls in the community. Basically, if you were a non-Muslim girl, you were meat for slaughter with those men. Christian, Hindu, Sikh, whatever, white, young, as long as they found girls that they could hook their claws into, because they were considered expendable by everyone concerned. For the same reasons that you stated. Well, they're couch surfing. Well, they're wild. They have oppositional defiance disorder. They have this and that another condition. Is this what you told the kids that you counseled? When a troubled girl came to you and talked to you about her circumstances, did you tell her that she was a little whore and it was her fault? Is that what you said? Because that's basically what you said about Shantal. And the larger picture here, the larger moral of the story, is that when you dehumanize someone to that extent, then everything that they do is wrong, and they don't deserve the protection of older people. And you say what? That she seduced him? A 40-year-old man? Belinda and I were joking earlier in somebody's chat. Who was it? Was it Yo Mama? I don't remember. That if a 40-year-old man had shown up at my door when I was 16 years old, my father would have opened the door with a shotgun. And because Yo Mama it was Yo Mama, he was reviewing Clara. And Clara had the fucking nerve to say that, Shantal is lucky that it was only about sex for her. Clara said that. And she covered it up in this word salad of nonsense. So I'm afraid that if Clara is your PR person, Jan, you've got a problem. And why don't you Why don't you? Yeah, it was so shocking that Yo Mama rage quit that stream. It was that shocking. He was actually speechless, and I don't believe that it was performative. I think he was genuinely that surprised that she said that. I couldn't believe it. My mouth was hanging open. But then again, Clara is nuts. She's another one who likes to go out and judge people. Jan, you fucked up, okay? And I know that you don't take seriously criticism coming from people that you don't like. But I'm telling you right now, you and I are not that far apart in age. We're not. I don't know how old you are, but you're not that much older than I am. And I know that you're a boomer and people tease you about your age. People tease me about my age all the time. This has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with changing standards. It has nothing to do with any of that. This is about your inability to have empathy and compassion for somebody who was victimized by an older man because you don't like them. And I can guarantee, Jan, that if the person we were talking about was a black girl of 16 who was exploited by an older man, that you would have a lot to say about it. That's the other part of this situation. That you have a problem with white girls. You do. You have a problem with people who are white. And that is your problem. Okay, that is definitely a you problem. But no sane person can take a look at the scenario and say that there is anything acceptable about a much older man exploiting a 16-year-old. And don't come at me with this age of consent horseshit. Okay? Don't even bother. 40 years old enough to be her father. But you found a way to twist it and turn it so that, you are trying to make sense to people, and nobody agrees with you, Jan. Not even Bridget agrees with you. You're basically down to Kalari. Nobody else agrees with you. Ask yourself why that is. Now, I do want to address something because it's getting on my nerves, and I want to make it abundantly clear to everyone. Negs has never strangled Bug. Never. I was here that day. I remember when it happened. Okay? When we first moved here, Bug was very reactive. He was surrounded by new things. He had never seen a rabbit before. He had never seen a chicken before. He had never seen livestock before. There were a lot of things that he had never seen. And Bug was still in that puppy stage. Negs has never had a big, strong dog before. Now, I raised Bug from the time he was a baby, the same thing with Sidhu, and I got to a point where I knew when he was going to bolt, and sometimes he even surprised me. There was one time in DC where I was walking both Bug and Sidhu at the same time. Bug saw a cat, he bolted and ran off, and he knocked me down on the sidewalk, and I injured my hand. I have worked a lot with Bug to tamper down his prey drive and his reactiveness, but he's a boxer. He's a very frisky. Anybody who knows a boxer knows what their temperament is like. Bug saw something, he took off to chase it or to find it or to wiggle his nub at it or whatever, and Negs was taken by surprise. And Bug, and he's done this to me too, where Bug gets so excited when he bolts that he strains his collar and he jumps like a marlin. I think that's a really, really good description of how he, jumps like that. He's done that to me. I would never put a choke collar on that dog because I know, based on the boxers that we owned before, you can put a choke collar on a boxer and they will choke themselves until like that because they get so excited. And so you have to work with them on their excitement and tempering it down, right? And I remember when Negs came in after that and he was so surprised. He was so taken by surprise that Bug bolted the way he did and that he was as strong as he is. Bug is as strong as an ox. Now, when I was in DC, I could walk both Bug and Sidhu at the same time with one hand, unless we ran into a cat or a squirrel. Then Bug would be off, unless I held him back. Sidhu was older. He couldn't be bothered at that point. Bug absolutely adores Negs. From the first time we walked into this house and he laid eyes on him, he decided that he was Negs's dog. I've lost him. He's not my dog anymore. He's Negs's dog. for all intents and purposes. He's very, very close to Negs. They adore each other. They have a very, very special relationship. And I have never seen Bug act the way he does around Negs with anyone else, not even with me. And anyone who said that anyone would be capable of like choking or strangling that dog, Bug's neck is like this big around and it's pure muscle. It's a tube of muscle. Okay? No. Nobody is strangling or choking that dog. And I can tell you that if anyone ever laid a hand on either of my dogs to harm them, I would go full John Wick. And I'm only slightly exaggerating. Only slightly. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Bug has gotten very, very excited seeing birds here. We have a lot of birds here. We have, like I said, we have rabbits all over the place. The other day we were on a walk and we saw some loose chickens. And I was very proud of him because he didn't chase them. He was on a leash, of course. But they had escaped their yard and they were, wandering around. And I thought, oh no, the chickens are going to peck my dog, I would never permit anyone to harm any of my dogs, either of them. Either of them. I was a bit notorious at the Landsberg Dog Park in Washington, D.C. as the dog mom who would wake up every day and choose violence, okay? There were people who would bring their dogs in and the dogs were not socialized and you were supposed to have the unsocialized dogs on the other side of the park behind a chain link fence. And sometimes those dogs would escape and they would come into the dog park. Bug has been attacked by pit bulls. He has been attacked by other dogs who somehow made it through that gate and jumped him. And Bug, let me tell you, Bug took on those dogs and he took on a Doberman and a Rottweiler protecting me when he was about 5 or 6 months old. He is a very, very powerful dog. Very powerful. Be that as it may, if a human being or if any dog approached my dog, and I have had people they have tried it with me in Washington when I was out walking my dogs. Let's just say that I do not respond well to anyone trying to harm one of my dogs. Ever. And I don't want to tell you what I did to these people. There were no guns involved. Let's just say that they tried it with my dogs, they tried it with me, and they soon regretted it. Let's just put it that way. I'll leave it at that. So no one that I love, no one that I care for, no one in my close inner circle has ever harmed either of my dogs, nor would they, because they know, like I said, that when it comes to my animals, every day I wake up and I choose violence. That is me. So no. Negs has never harmed Bug. Never. He's never harmed him. He's never laid a finger on him. He's never hit him. He's never been rough with him in like an aggressive way to correct him. He's never done that. And there's been a lot of adjustment here because, like I said, he's never owned a big, strong dog. And when you have a working breed in your home and you've only had these little itty-bitty dogs, it takes some getting used to. I had to get used to Pebbles because I'm not used to having little dogs. And I'm scared because sometimes in the morning when it's dark, I wake up and I come downstairs without my glasses and I'm worried that I'm going to step on her, I'm going to sit on her because my eyesight is horrendous. I'm practically blind. But everything is fine here. The dog is healthy. The dog is loved. He is adored by everyone in the family. He has become a mascot at the store. People come in. He gets all the pets. He's a very, very good boy. So anybody who suggests that Negs would ever harm Bug or any animal or any living thing is doing so out of malice. And from now on, anyone who repeats that lie, let's just say that I would urge you not to. I would urge you not to. Because that is defamatory. It is slander. And I have had enough. I've had enough of this shit. And I know that there's only a very low-tier scumbag group of people who have repeated that. If you have repeated that, I would appreciate it if you would fucking apologize because it's false. And I think that we owe each other at least that much courtesy. All right. No, Negs is not violent. He's not a violent person. I know that he's got that reputation, but he's never laid a finger on anyone. He is very, very kind. He's not a violent person. Anyway, I want to continue. Oh, hi, Christopher Moon. How are you? All right. Now, yeah, that's me. I'm here. It's me. It's not an optical illusion. I'm back on YouTube. All right. Well, and that's Peanut, by the way. Why be coy? All right, that was Peanut. Okay. So, no, don't be embarrassed, Christopher. I know some people are surprised to see me back. I want to cover another drama that I have not paid attention to because, quite frankly, I don't want to have anything to do with any of the content creators involved. This is no insult to Yo Mama. I'm talking about the people he discussed in this. And I normally wouldn't do it. However, I think that there is a lesson to be learned here. There's a lesson to be learned. Because what happened was so vile that I think that it's amazing what people are willing to accept in the community. It is amazing to me. And here's another example of people getting a little bit too involved and invested in somebody's life that they've never met and possibly putting them in danger. So I'm going to play this part of the Yo Mama stream. And what I'm about to play has to do with Jessica Messica, Cobes, and Naked and Laughing. And I got to tell you, I am not easily shocked. I'm not. I've seen so goddamn much on this platform and on Twitter that it takes a lot to surprise me. But I have to say, I was surprised when I found this out. So there is a difference between teasing and trolling people online and making fun of them or joking around or whatever, or on stream, and actually getting involved in their lives and possibly putting them in harm's way. I think that we can all agree to that, right? So let's hear what he had to say.
Stream is, wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for all you guys. And shout out to the goddamn chat. Thank you guys. Thank you guys very much. But anyway. When your boy is right, I'm right, ladies and gentlemen. Now I remember back when I originally talked to you guys about the Jessica Messica saga. We had a conversation, talked about things, how things was just getting out of control. And I called it here, and I had to call her out for it. Caught a lot of heat, caught a lot of slack from a lot of people, who was supporters of Jessica Messica and myself. But I had to keep it a buck. Let me tell you, the story just got even more crazy. Okay.
Hey, Annie.
All right. So the person...
Oh, I'm sorry, Negs. I need to explain this person to you. Clara is a woman who has been LARPing as Charlie Gold. She's this enormously fat black woman who films herself on a very abused, creaky exercise bike wearing the same bonnet that Charlie wears. She has no front teeth. She claims to drive a Tesla, but she doesn't have teeth. Okay. She has not lost an ounce since she has been on that exercise bike. She is now allied with Jan's views, because of course she is, because they're birds of a feather. She is a simp for Sam, Yaba, and FFG. And she is a complete embarrassment. And Jan thinks that she's some kind of a genius. I'll share some videos with you. And you're just going to be appalled. I promise you. All right, let's go.
That sent Naked and Laughing to Casper, Queen Cobra's home. Mm-hmm. When King Cobra broke up with her, didn't want nothing to do with her, and didn't really even want her there. The individual that sent Queen Cobra to the individual that sent Queen Cobra to King Cobra's home got on panel the other day.
Yeah, I know she's trying to get pregnant, Hillbilly Belinda. I'm aware. She's too fat and she's too old. Can I say that? Is that allowed? Lady, you are going to have to lose quite a bit of weight before you make a sincere effort. How old is she? Isn't she almost 50, or am I wrong? It's very hard to tell with people who are that fat how old they are. I have no idea. All that I know is that her husband apparently was under the impression that Wakanda is a real place, which it is not. And she, for some reason, she decided to share this on stream, and then she got what's it called? She got triggered because people were razzing her about it, and she got very angry. Well, bitch, you should have kept that to yourself. That's incredibly embarrassing. I wouldn't do that. But okay.
That's right. And had a lot of interesting things to say. Just want to say something. Now, Jessica Messica broke the story on Queen Cobra being at King Cobra's home. And she kept on building this thing up. She built this thing up for like 3 weeks on I got the inside information. T.
All right. I did not follow. I was like one of the 2 people on the planet who did not follow the King Cobra Naked and Laughing saga. It was obvious from the time that that woman landed in Casper and first met him that it was going to turn out very badly. And Cobes is somebody who's been relentlessly trolled for years. But it's obvious that Naked and Laughing is extremely mentally ill. She's got a very serious drinking problem. And that bringing those 2 together was going to be a disaster. Well, apparently Cobes had enough. They split up, and then somebody decided to pay for Naked and Laughing to go to Casper, even though King Cobra had made it clear that he did not want to see her. And I have a lot of thoughts about that, but let's continue.
I got the inside information. People were like, nah, you don't even know what you're talking about. You just spreading rumors, falsehoods. She was like, no, I got the, trust me, guys. And then when it was found out that Naked and Laughing was at King Cobra's house, Naked and Laughing.
Does everybody remember when Frenchie and Just Saying pulled that stunt with May, who was allegedly raped by Nodder? Remember that? Remember when they did a big reveal and used a possible sexual assault of a woman as content? The beloved Just Saying. And that scumbag Frenchie, remember? This is sort of similar. But honestly, this is all because they go IRL. They did. And I don't think that they were criticized nearly enough for what they did. I thought it was disgusting. But it seems like everybody's forgotten that. And I think that we need to remember what both Frenchie and Just Saying did by getting involved in a very, very serious allegation with an alleged victim of a very serious crime. It was absolutely vile, and the fact that they were allowed to toddle on, continue on the platform unmolested, channels not coming down, still making money, is disgusting to me. Disgusting. And I was very critical of it at the time, and I continue to be critical of it. It's gross. This whole thing of, oh, we've got a secret, we've got all this content, we've got something that we want to share with you. And it turns out to be a fucking rape? Are you people crazy? Disgusting.
Jessica Messica felt that justification. She even came on stream. And said this. Roll it.
Thanks. Okay, so as far as wankers or whatever, okay, so listen, I'm realizing now that, like, although people should not touch the poo, right?
Oh.
Should not touch the poo as a whole. If Now went there by herself with nobody facilitating this in any sort of way, she'd be alone and probably they could be dead. If she went on her friend's ticket alone completely with no assistance with figuring things out when this goes bad, I believe that they would both be severely injured. Someone could be dead.
Okay.
She talked about touching the poo, not doing that. And if a friend sent her there with a plane ticket, someone can get severely injured
Right, because Naked and Laughing is crazy. She's nuts. I think that we've all seen this. As little as I've followed it, which is not at all, I've seen people talk about it. I've seen a couple of clips of videos and stuff, but I didn't want to get involved in it because the whole thing made me feel uncomfortable. Because Cobes is not mentally intact himself. And the fact that they were trying to play out this relationship, which was clearly disgusting in that it was two very deeply disturbed people who were, well, not deeply disturbed. Cobes is not dangerous. He's a very sweet man, but that he's not all there, that he has a drinking problem, and he got together with this lunatic with a drinking problem. And it was obvious that things were going to turn out badly. And when Cobes decided that he wanted nothing more to do with Naked and Laughing, people should have respected his decision, but instead, this is what happened.
Someone can die. Now, she played this whole thing up, even to Courtney, where she got on panel with King Cobra and told King Cobra how dangerous Naked and Laughing is, and how mentally ill she is, and how harmful she is, and you should not get in any kind of contact with her. Matter of fact, let's warn the whole neighborhood, if she comes to the front lawn, she needs to be arrested immediately. Fucking somebody tell the authorities.
Right.
Let's get them involved. How dangerous, mentally ill, how sick she is, and how the last time they came out there, they had a whole ass fight where her titty popped out, and sexual assaults and the R word being passed around, that she was going to send this man to jail. She is a very dangerous individual.
Yeah, she's
That's
crazy.
What she played up to her audience. And then we find out behind the scenes, the person that was sending Naked and Laughing to King Cobra's house was actually in communications with Jessica Messica. Matter of fact, the person that was sending Queen Cobra to King Cobra's house was asking for Jessica Messica's opinion on what he should and shouldn't do. Do you think that Jessica Messica told that person the same thing that she was telling her audience?
Right.
That this woman is mentally unstable and somebody can die and get hurt?
And Naked and Laughing is 100,000,000% the kind of person who is so mentally ill that she would make a false rape accusation. I completely believe that. Or the woman gets so crazy when she's been drinking that she could harm him. I mean, he's what? He's a slip of a man. It's not like he's a big, strong bruiser. You know, he's just a little guy. And the fact that all this was being cooked up behind the scenes, and fine, okay, so Jessica was not the person who bought the ticket. It wasn't her idea. It wasn't something that she did. It was a troll from the Cobes community, this Oink guy, right? But when you cannot go on stream and say, on the one hand, that Naked and Laughing is so crazy and so dangerous and blah, 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 and then be sneakily working behind the scenes with somebody who is actively scheming to get that insane woman back in Casper after King Cobra has made it clear that he doesn't want to have anything to do with her. I'm sorry, but as someone, along with Negs, who has had people come to our town, had people threaten us, had people come here uninvited, interfere in our business, reach out to people in Connorsville, go into people's Facebook pages, call our relatives, try to contact an elementary school teacher, and all of the above, send CPS to the house. We know exactly what it means when strangers on the internet decide to have a bit of fun and try to create content by creating chaos. So that we get upset and we come on stream and we start screaming and yelling and carrying on and all that. So this stunt was unacceptable. And if Jessica knew about it and she was still going on stream and making these comments about how that woman was dangerous, imagine that she knew that somebody was going to pay for a ticket to fly her to Casper. I mean, what can I say?
Jessica Messica was out for the fucking clout. Here, you don't believe me? Matter of fact, let's listen to the guy who sent Queen Cobra to King Cobra's house. Roll it.
Secrets from everybody. And the amount of doxing, backstabbing, cloak and dagger I cannot even describe to you what's going on behind the scenes. It is so fucking insane.
I'm sure.
And I've tried to shield everyone as best I can because no one is doing what the other person wants them to do, and it's driving everybody insane. So I think that's kind of what's going on.
Okay.
Number one, I think it's important for people to know that yes, Jessica is there. She's sitting right next to him. That's just what it is. I'm sorry, Josh, but that's what's happening right this second. She's there. She's watching this with you. It's how I got this link.
Okay. I think everybody kind of knew that too, Oink.
Well, I mean, you got a lot of people people that want my head on a pike because I know this stuff. A lot of Jessica Messica's people, think I'm setting her up.
Yep.
And it's just a mess. What I want to really address is why I want to really make this clear to everybody. The only reason Jessica Messica knew about the flight in the first place is I wanted to give Josh a heads up.
Oh.
And there's a big difference between the people that are friendly with NAL and Josh. There's a sharp divide. I'm probably the only one that really talks to both. So
okay.
I have to reach out to her to let Josh know. I mean, that's just what it is.
What?
And regarding that community post, I'm assuming you have some idea what it's about.
I do.
Yeah. And I agree with you. These are people. These are people. And the reason Jessica knows about that is because I was so concerned.
Oh.
And I did not know what to do.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I just did not know what to do. It was so early in the morning. I have, I have something going on that I've never dealt with before.
All right.
So I asked for advice.
What?
Now, I have told Jessica things in the past. Like, I told her not to release the airplane date. I've told her, tidbits here and there. And she's been very good to me. She has.
Really?
I asked for advice from Jessica Messica, and she's been very good for me. This whole time she's been screaming, T. I know somebody that knows somebody that possibly knows somebody on Naked and Laughing going to Casper to meet up with King Cobra. No. She was in direct contact with the person that was sending Naked and Laughing to King Cobra's home. But she played her audience to making that this would be the most dangerous thing ever.
Right.
That Naked and Laughing is dangerous. She's mentally ill, and somebody could get hurt. Somebody.
Okay, does everybody understand the point now? It doesn't matter, in the greater scheme of things. All right, so Jessica Messica did not buy the ticket herself. Fine. We know that. We're aware. But she went on stream, and she said that Naked and Laughing was dangerous, that she was mentally unstable, that she was capable of harming Copes in some way. And she knew the entire time that some troll was buying this woman a ticket. She knew the date of the flight. She had information about that, which she kept to herself while she was sanctimoniously going on stream and warning people about Naked and Laughing. Is this what we have come to? Is this what it's come to? Look, I know that there are people in chat who are talking about who told who what and when and blah, 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 blah. I don't really give a shit about the drama between all these trolls and these content creators that I don't follow. I don't care. all right? Who did what to whom and who emailed whom and who called whom. No. What I care about is that when you violate the boundaries of a complete stranger on the internet, for laughs, for views, for content, for money, whatever, you dehumanize the person that you are creating this little plot drama around. And again, I hate to keep bringing this up, but I speak as someone who is part of a couple that have been targeted by these kinds of people. For me, going on 2 years, and for Negs, 7 years, 8 years. And let me tell you, it's not hilarious when people are doing this to you. It's not hilarious when people send a random guy from Connorsville to your store to create a ruckus who you don't know if that guy is clean, if he has no criminal background, or if he's an armed robber or a rapist. And your mother is working in the store. And his mother was there that day, by the way. It's not hilarious when somebody tries to take all your income away. It's not hilarious when somebody tries to break up your family. It's not hilarious when somebody is digging into your past and contacting people that have known you for many years to try to get dirt on you, or befriend people that you used to be friends with in order to get dirt from them, or reaching out to a band that you're no longer in to get dirt. And then they give themselves permission to do this, and they don't think that this is an invasion of privacy because it's all content. I can tell you, as somebody who's gone through it, and Negs would say the same, it is very entertaining for the audience. The audience loves the Roman Colosseum aspect. They love it. But they don't understand because they dehumanize us to the point where they think that they're permitted to do this. And they have done it, and they've made money off of it, you know. And it is, anything involving IRL is vile. It is vile. It's not funny. You are playing with people's lives. In the case of these two, playing with people's lives like they're Sims, like it's a video game. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? Anyway, let's continue.
I could die. We need to guard against this. As she was telling her audience this, she was telling the person that was actually sending Naked and Laughing to King Cobra's house something else. Because if she cared, like she says she did in her channels, when she said that this woman is dangerous and mentally ill, and this guy should not be around her, and this guy should watch out for her, she should have told the guy that was coordinating the whole thing what she was telling her audience. Hell no. You want my opinion? You should not be buying a plane ticket for Naked and Laughing to go to King Cobra's house.
Correct.
Hell no.
Yep. Agreed.
And then protect the person that is sending Queen Cobra to King Cobra's home? She couldn't tell. Instead of going, girl, I got the tea. I got the tea. I got the tea. I got the tea. I can't tell it. I can't say nothing, but I got the tea. Yes, she is going. Yes, I got the dates. Yes, it's happening. It's very dangerous. We don't want it to happen. She's mentally unstable. Somebody can die. Somebody can get hurt. She didn't say none of that to the person that was actually doing it.
Right.
If she really cared about somebody dying and she would have been like, no, this guy right here is trying to send her to this guy, this house, and blah, blah, blah. No, she didn't do that, though.
Okay. So when I worked for Chris Matthews, he had a segment on Hardball called Winners and Losers. And the way that we would pick people, there were 3 people in each category every night. And the rule was that the winner was someone who had done something that was so praiseworthy that even their worst enemy would have to agree that they deserved an attaboy. The loser was someone who had done something so unacceptable that even their best friend would have to admit, look, you really screwed up here. That's how we picked the winners and losers. I don't care if you're a fan of Jessica Messica. You can be in any community you want. You can like any creator you want. It's up to you. You know, if you like her content, that's cool. Or anybody's content, that's cool. But as a civilized adult human being, you have to be able to recognize that what happened here was wrong. It was wrong. Just like when FFG and Just Sayin teamed up with an alleged rape victim in order to make content and money. And they exploited that woman. And that lady, by the way, that May lady, if you saw her videos, it was obvious that she was not all there mentally, that there was something very wrong with her up here. And you don't have to be a shrink to be able to detect that somebody is not okay. And they exploited that woman. Again, they exploited that woman to have a scoop. Now, it's one thing if you are going to reveal something based on something that you dug up or whatever. It is an entirely different thing when you are dealing with an extremely serious crime and you bring an alleged victim on to exploit for views and money, possibly damaging any court case that she could have going forward. That was one of my biggest critiques when all this came out. And I don't see just saying in Frenchie having to answer for it. I don't see it. And I think it is disgraceful that the community allowed them to get away with it. And now this thing, I mean, I'm sorry. Look, if you're a fan of her content, of Jessica Messica, that's cool. I have nothing against you. But you have to admit that this was not right. It just wasn't right. And I wonder what happens when people achieve a certain degree of success on the platform. What happens to their humanity? This is what I've been asking about Jan. How can we possibly trust that you would be capable of giving good advice to young troubled people as you claim you did when you behave the way you do towards someone that you don't like for whatever reason on YouTube, because you don't like their content, you don't like the cut of their jib. It's disgusting. And I would ask the same, like, how can you possibly say that this is acceptable behavior? It's gross. It's just not right. It just isn't. Sorry.
He asked for advice. He asked her opinion. You were telling your audience one thing when you was doing another behind the scenes. It wasn't no, I got some tea, or I got some insight to Naked and Laughing going to King Cobra's house. No. You had direct contact with the person that was sending Naked and Laughing to King Cobra's house. And you knew how dangerous that was. Mm-hmm. Because you told your audience how dangerous it is for King Cobra not to want to be with Queen Cobra. We saw you on panel with Courtney. You sat there and you said that you care about King Cobra's well-being. Mm-hmm. Well, if you cared about his well-being, you should have let him know that there's a person that I'm in direct contact with that is trying to send Naked and Laughing to your home. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I'm letting him know how dangerous that is. Mm-hmm. She didn't do none of that. Instead, she drew it out. TTT. Audience. Wait for it. It's happening. I got the dates, but I can't say nothing. I got the information, but I'm not telling you guys shit. It's coming. Don't worry about it. You guys don't believe me? Don't worry about it. You'll believe me later on. I'm showing y'all. The person just told you. Yeah, I did catch Courtney's live about it. That's what I'm watching right now. I'm just watching bits and pieces of it. I would watch Courtney's whole live if you guys want to go check it out. I would watch the whole thing, but Courtney tends to, when she goes live, when she does what other creators do that I just don't like, where she doesn't stick to the subject, where she's the type of person where the subject is this, and then she'll be like, okay, she'll start on the subject, but then get derailed.
Right, but see, Gata, that is the problem. That is the problem. Now, nobody can police a community, all right? Because there are no people in the community who are considered to be leaders. There is no one in the community that commands respect of any kind. There are tribes in the community. There used to be a time, many years ago, where there were a couple of content creators who could go out and criticize behavior and say, this is wrong, shouldn't be doing it. And people would listen. Now it doesn't exist because every single creator is compromised. All of them are compromised. They've either been caught lying, grifting, manipulating their audiences, being dishonest, backstabbing, going IRL, whatever. So there's nobody out there who can sit there and be, sort of the conscience of the community. I mean, the fact that people cheered on Music Biz Marty when he was tormenting Chantal's mother. The fact that people were gleeful about Marty, doing the shit that he did to Chantal's family. And nobody called him out on it. Everyone cheered him on. FFG more than anyone. Frenchie more than anyone. But then again, she's been actively stalking Chantal for years. We've had people come into the community who are utter garbage, who go IRL all the time, who try to destroy people's families, try to destroy people's businesses, try to go IRL, show up at people's houses, that kind of thing. And nobody has called it out, either out of fear or because they secretly get a thrill out of watching people they don't like being tormented. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I'm surprised that there haven't been any tragedies as a result of all this horse shit. I mean, Little Mama was a deeply disturbed woman. And somebody who was suffering from postpartum depression, and then the harassment and bullying she received online didn't help. But what happened afterwards was worse, in my opinion, because you can say that we don't know why Little Mama took her own life, that there could have been a number of factors. But we do know who went after her widower after she died. We do know who called the sheriff's office. We do know who started poking around. We do know who raised concerns about the widower's GoFundMe. We do know that the widower had 5 children. We do know that there was a certain community that smeared the widower of a woman who had just taken her own life, leaving him with 5 children, some of whom he still had to raise. There were, I think, 1 or 2 of them were adults, and then there were a couple that were still living at home. We do know who did that. Where was the outrage over that? Where were people saying, why don't you leave this man alone? Why are you tormenting this man? Why are you trying to raise questions about a GoFundMe put up by a widower with 5 children? Why are you calling the sheriff's office? Why are you taking such an interest? Why are you going into somebody's real life after a tragedy? Well, there are some people in the community who love tragedies. They love it when somebody experiences a loss, a death of a loved one, natural, unnatural, whatever the case may be, and they exploit it for money and views. And their audiences are to blame because they don't hold those creators accountable. They don't hold their feet to the fire. And believe me, I know the cost of holding the feet to the fire of certain creators who have gone completely out of bounds and lost all notion of decorum and decency and compassion. So let's continue.
By the chat, she'll read something from the chat and go off of it. Like she'll be like, okay, I'm here to talk about the Jessica Messica issue. Now, this is the problem that I had with the whole situation. And wait, somebody in the chat said strawberries. Oh yeah, I love strawberries. Strawberries with bananas, and then it takes you 20 minutes to get to the good parts. So instead of me playing the whole video, because it goes, I just don't understand this as creators. I wish people would spend more time talking about the subject that they're going live for, and then speak to the chat later on, right? Because it derails you, and then you're doing 20 minutes of talking about is what it is. I'm just showing y'all. I'm just playing it for y'all. I'm giving my opinions. If it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, but looking at this and watching this whole thing play out, Courtney tends to, when she goes when she does what other creators do that I just don't like, where she doesn't stick to the subject, where she's the type of person where the subject is this, and then she'll be like, okay, she'll start on the subject.
Yeah,
but
Peanut does that too.
Derailed by the chat. She'll read something from the chat and go off of it. Like she'll be like, okay, I'm here to talk about the Jessica Messica issue. Now, this is the problem that I had with the whole situation. And wait, somebody in the chat said strawberries. Oh yeah, I love strawberries. Strawberries with bananas, and then it takes you 20 minutes to get to the good parts. So instead of me playing the whole video, because it goes, I just don't understand this as creators. I wish people would spend more time talking about the subject that they're going live for, and then speak to the chat later on, right? Because it derails you. And then you're doing 20 minutes of talking about absolutely nothing that we're here for. And then the next minute you're talking about what we're here for. So thank you very much, No Name. Thank you for the $10. Yes, I did watch it, but I just can't. It's bits and pieces of parts. You know what I'm saying? But what she did say, she did feel betrayed by Jessica Messica because she thought that Jessica Messica was really there to help King Cobra, and then she found out the hard way. You know, and I'm gonna sit here and I'm not gonna act like a saint on this whole thing, because the same way Courtney got played, I got played too. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. When I came on here and I said that I'm unbiased, I can't lie. I was biased towards Jessica Messica. I really was. I came into the game. She showed me the ropes. She showed me how to Dougie. You know what I'm saying? She told me how to walk around this community. And, you know, she could do no wrong in my eyes. A lot of people warned me about it, but she could do no wrong in my eyes. And, you know, she could have did anything. She could have went to one of the viewers, kicked down one of their doors, shit in their toilet, slap them in the face. It all would got caught on video, and I would have seen it, and I would have still found a way to make excuse for Jessica Messica. I ain't gonna lie, and I like to apologize to the chat. I like to apologize to everybody out there that warned me about it. I did. I had blinders on. I really did. And so a lot of times I did defend her on things that I probably shouldn't have. I should have kept it a buck. But as a human being, as a person, you got to come on here and you got to admit that you were wrong. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with that. We're human. I might catch a couple of L's here and there, but yes, I was biased. I did look past a lot of the things that she did because I thought she was a very talented individual, and she did show me the ropes. So I gave her grace, but I shouldn't have. But looking at this and watching this whole thing play out and seeing her play in the middle and being a part of this when all you're supposed to do is be a reactor, it really shows the true colors. Just saying. So, you know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. But like I said, at the end of the day, you told your audience how dangerous Naked and Laughing was, but coordinated with the person that was sending Naked and Laughing to Casper. That's crazy. That's crazy. But hey, man, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm just showing y'all. I'm just playing it for y'all. I'm giving my opinions. If it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, a lot of people, their stands for her. Like, man, she got stands like a motherfucker, right?
Yeah, she does.
Man, it's right there. I mean, everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong. You can't stand for Jessica Messica that long where everybody's wrong. Like everybody. Even people in the goddamn King Cobra verse. The people in King Cobra verse are like, she doing too much. When you got people from the King Cobra verse going, yeah, she doing too much. You doing too much. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When they stand up and they go, the people that be sending beers to fucking King Cobra, when they stand up and they go, yeah, you doing too much. That right there now, that ain't cool. But anyway. So like I said, at the end of the day, yeah. I can admit that, you know, I was.
And Cobes has terrible trolls. I mean, look, trolls suck, right? And A-logs are horrible. There is no good A-log. A good A-log does not exist. The A-logging of Darkside Phil was so ridiculous. They figured out his bank account information. It was horrible. The shit that Boogie and Wings have had to put up with is horrible. The shit that we're putting up with from our A-logs is horrible. It's horrible. People who are dying to go IRL on us, they're like sitting there waiting to pounce, and they make absolutely no secret of this. And people like Peanut excuse it. I saw a Twitter thread recently where she was kikiing with one of our A-logs who shared information about somebody that I know in real life. And Peanut said absolutely nothing about it. You know, the woman who claims that she is so against doxing and all of this shit, she didn't care because she doesn't like me. And because she's under the impression that I wronged her in some way. And so she was fine kikiing with one of our A-logs. She had no problem with it. An individual who is obviously deeply mentally disturbed. And there are people on the internet who are not okay. They jump on, they get into communities, they decide that they take a disliking to someone, and then they make it their effort, they make it their mission to try to destroy them little by little by little. And they hook up with these other creators, and they're welcomed into these communities, and they're disgusting. I mean, nobody loves their A-logs, right? I don't love mine. I can't stand any of them, and none of them are welcome in my community for obvious reasons. One of them keeps on crying in other people's chats, demanding that I unblock her, which will never happen. An A-log is somebody who has an obsessive, overwhelming hatred for someone online. And they make it their mission to go on whatever platform or various platforms and constantly criticize them, go IRL on them, try to find reasons to bring them down, try to find reasons to like dox personal information about them. And it's basically defined as somebody who's got an irrational hatred of someone they've never met online. That's what an A-log is. So anyway, it's bad. It's bad. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it short here because Negs is going to go live at 8 and I want to eat something. I'm hungry. But I think we got the point, right? Jessica Messica had information. She went on stream. She told people that naked and laughing is dangerous, which I do believe she is. It's a combination of her alcoholism and her mental illness that makes her dangerous. And she emphasized that this woman is dangerous, but she knew that behind the scenes there was a plot, an ongoing plot to fly that woman that she had herself had said was dangerous to Casper, to see Cobes. And I'm sorry, but there are bounds of reason. There really are. We can come online, we can throw shade at each other, we can tease each other, we can criticize each other. That's all well and good. But when you actively start trying to interfere in somebody's life, reaching out to people that they know in person, contacting schools, contacting employers, contacting their friends, contacting, anyone in their real life, contacting their families, calling their mothers, calling their workplace, calling charities they work for, getting relatives 5150'd, sending the police to the door, sending CPS to the door, whatever. It's too much. It's too much. I said quite a while ago, and for those of you who weren't with me when I was on Rumble, I said we had to brace ourselves for the inauguration of Drama Community 2.0. And I said, I hope you enjoy yourselves. I don't think that many of you are. Some of you like watching, again, you like the spectacle. You think it's funny. You like the Roman Colosseum. There's a reason why people used to attend public executions in the old days, or they used to go to bear baiting or dog fighting, or watching gladiators chop each other up, or going to jousting matches. I mean, people like seeing, violence and graphic, disgusting shit. I'm not one of them. I'm not in that crowd. This is why I never took to Game of Thrones. It's too violent for me. The same thing with House of Dragon. I can't watch it. It's too much. Negs watched the first episode when we were in the living room one night, and I was watching it, and it was so violent, and I said, that's it. I'm not going to watch any more of it. I'm not that kind of person. But there are people who do enjoy it, and even if it's done verbally, and even if it's done by creators who want to reach into your life and fuck you up and lie about you and try to get mobs of people to come in and cancel you, it's a lot, and it takes a toll emotionally. It takes a toll mentally and financially and everything else. So I don't care for it. I don't like it. And I don't follow creators who behave that way. So anyway, all right, you guys, I want to thank everybody again for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you all didn't forget to subscribe and drop a like. And thank you again to the people who donated in CashApp. You have been so kind tonight. And we have received such wonderful donations in the past. And some of you are return donors, and I appreciate that. And so you are very, very kind. You're very kind, very generous, and we do appreciate everything. The support, the love, the civility in chat. I really appreciate that. There are people in chat that I never thought I would see in my chat, or anybody close to me's chat. And you're all behaving so well, and you're very kind. And I would also like to extend a thank you to the people who have reached out to me to apologize for the way that they spoke about me and about Negs. I've had people talk to me in tears. I've had people call me, not call me, but reach out to me by email and so on, and they've apologized. People have apologized publicly in chat. I really appreciate that. I think it takes a lot of guts to come out and publicly or even privately say, look, I behaved like an asshole. I believed the wrong people. I believed a lot of lies about you guys. I spread a lot of lies about you guys, and I want to apologize. And to you all, you give me hope. You give me hope that it is still possible to build a community where people appreciate the truth, because a lot of people are making money telling lies on the platform. And I appreciate those of you who have come over here, and you've been so kind and accepting, and you've been so good to us. I really appreciate it. So anyway, until next time, Negs is going to stream at 8, probably on Rumble, I guess. And let me see something. I'm going to go to Rumble and see if he set up a page. Hang on a second. Let me go to Discord. Maybe it's there. Oh, it is there. Okay. Oh, shit. Where is it? All right, you guys. This is the link to the Rumble stream. Where are you guys? Oh, there you are. There's my StreamYard. This is Negs' stream. Starts at 8. I hope you all show up. Be there or be square. And I appreciate all of you again. I really do. I'm glad to be attracting a community of adults. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, I'm going to go get some dinner, and I will see you guys the next time.